Welcome to day 12 of the 30-day wholesaling challenge. Today we're talking about probates and specifically how to wholesale probates even if you've never done a wholesale deal. I'm going to walk you through what a probate is, how to actually find these lists, and most importantly, how to talk to a probate seller. But before I get into it, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button. You hit that subscribe notification button to continue to receive the best information on wholesaling today. So let's talk about it. Probates. Rick, what is a probate? And a probate is very simple. It is a process set up by the court system when somebody passes away and they own material possessions like stocks, bonds, checking accounts, cars, boats, and real estate. When these people pass away, there's no legal way for them to transfer their ownership via a deed or a title without entering into some sort of court order, and that is known as probate. Now, not every property is required to go through probate, but most people who pass away that own a piece of real estate need to get a probate entered into their court to successfully be able to sell that property or transfer the ownership interest. So now that you know what a probate is, and it is a fact of life, and the idea of the probate is if somebody passes away, most people have a will. It's their final testament of what they want to happen to their estate and who gets most. Now, most people pass away being real estate being their biggest, largest asset they own. So that's why we come in as wholesalers, because when they want to sell real estate and somebody passed away in the family, they typically need some help getting the property sold. You got to understand, when somebody's at the final stages of their life, making the house perfect is not their priority. They're focusing on keeping people alive, on providing health care and making it as comfortable as possible. They don't worry about the house at the end of the life. If you've ever had a grandma or an elderly loved one, a lot of times there's walkers set up. The bathrooms are made for handicap, the toilets, everything, because you're just trying to focus on quality of life. When these people pass away, then the house usually needs to be refurbished, basically remodeled, for them to get their money back on the property. So most people die with a last will and testament. Why is this important? Because it gives direction on who gets what in the event that that person passes away. Now, typically what they do is they appoint a person in charge. And this person is simply known as a PR, which stands for personal representative, or an executor. It depends on what state you're in. Remember, we have over 3,500 counties in this country. They're all a little bit different. But in probates, they're going to open a probate and appoint a personal representative, PR, or an executor. And that is the person who is in charge of selling that piece of real estate. And that's the person we need to go find. So the next question is, Rick, how do we go find these PRs or the executors? And it's real simple. You simply go down your county probate courthouse, whatever county you're in, and they're going to have a probate division within their courts. And that's where all the records are kept. Now, some of you can get this information online, but most of you are going to have to go down to your courthouse and actually pull this information. Don't be scared of that, because the newer, fresher records you get, the better chance you have at getting a great probate deal. Now, I know you might be tempted to buy this list from some sort of third party. I'm here to tell you, these lists are usually pretty bad, and you're going to overpay for the information, and it's going to be way outdated. You're so much better off going straight to your county courthouse and getting these leads yourself fresh, because you know they're real, you know they are up to date, and you know you got a great shot at getting a wholesale deal from them. Now, my recommendation is don't go past 30 or 60 days in getting these leads. You can't just show up the courthouse once every 6 months and pull these leads, because your probability of getting a deal are very, very slim. The sooner you pull those leads and reach out to them, the better your chances of getting a great deal. So once you find out who the PR or the executor is, you simply need to find out one of two options: their mailing address and or their phone number. Now, to get their phone number, you just put them in truepeoplesearch.com and look it up. As far as the mailing address, sometimes it's provided on the probate court docket, or you can look up their name online and go through truepeoplesearch.com or any type of skip trace service and find out that information. So I'm going to share with you two methods to reach out to anybody with a probate that owns a piece of real estate, so you can reach out to them and see if you can strike a deal. Method number one is simple. And once you have the mailing address of the PR, you can simply mail them a letter. Now, I've made this super simple for you. I've done probates for a long time, and I actually provide you a free probate template letter that you can use. I'd like you to mix it up a little bit so we're all not sending the same letters. And at the end of this video, I'll add it in the link, or you can go over to freewholesaling.com and get that information. So it's already done for you. It works really well. And you send out a letter and you follow it to a T. Now, one of the little secrets I share on there is you want to use blue ink on the bottom when you sign your name. It looks more authentic, and people will reach out to you on this letter. And I'm going to share with you at the end why they're going to reach out to you. It's going to blow you away. But it's tried and proven. Don't change it too much. It works really well. And be patient waiting for these people to call you back. Sometimes it's months before they call you back. Technique number 2 is really simple. Is now that you have the PR or the executor's phone number, just pick up the phone and call them. Now, this is a little bit different of a phone call, and you got to understand you've got to be very humble and very nice, and you've got to be an excellent communicator. Now, if they're calling you or you're calling them, you have to be an incredible listener. So I'm going to teach you the 80-20 rule. Means once you get them talking, you need to let them talk as much as possible. The more they talk, the more information they're going to share with you, and the better chance of you getting a great deal. We call it the 80-20 rule. You want them to do 80% of the talking. Your 20% are going to be laser targeted qualifying questions that we teach you over at freewholesaling.com. But honestly, the more they talk, the better the results you're going to get, because they're going to give you a ton of information. And once they see you're a good listener, it means you're developing rapport, you're having a great conversation, and people like to do business with people they get along with and they trust. And for that reason, you've got to use the 80-20 rule when communicating with a probate. These are going to be much longer conversations. And in the first conversation, I don't want you to even discuss price. Qualify them. Qualify the property, go through MCTP, which we teach over at freewholesaling.com, and see if you can connect with these people. Once you develop a connection, you have a great conversation, just walk through it smoothly and don't give them a lot of pushback. Let them talk, get as much information you can, and you're well on your way to getting your first probate wholesale deal. So I'm going to share with you a couple keys that I've learned in probates over the last 15 years, and they're still true to this date, and I want to share them with you. Number 1, you got to learn your local state and county procedures for doing probates. You want to understand it. You don't need to know it. You just want to understand the flow of the process. Every state's a little bit different. Most of the statutes are posted online under your probate courts. Get familiar with it because you have to know a little bit about it. It doesn't mean you have to be a master at probates. You just want to understand the process of probates. It's a little bit different in each state. So go ahead and pull up the statutes and just understand the flow of how it works in your state and your specific counties. Number 2, I don't want you to be a lawyer. Actually, I want you to do the opposite. Your job is to seek out people in probate that want to sell their properties. Not only do they want to sell their properties, they need to sell their properties. That is the key. And remember, you can't be an expert on everything in probate. That's what a lawyer does. And even then, it's questionable if they know everything. So don't try to become a lawyer. Well, Rick, how do I know how to do it? Your job is to go out and find these people. Once you have them, what you want to do is qualify them and try to enter into a contract with them. And then use your team, use your title company. Your title company is probably the biggest key factor in being successful in wholesaling probates. Why? Because they know exactly what needs to happen to the title for your deal to be successful. So the first person I'm always communicating with when it comes to probate is my title company. You can't have a lawyer on speed dial or meet with them every time you have a title question about a probate. It's going to get too expensive. So number 1, work with your title company. If you have the opportunity to spend some time with a probate lawyer, that is a great time to reach out to them, but their time is valuable, and be very careful because if they don't think they're going to get business from you, they do not want to give you free information. Be respectful to these types of lawyers. So now that you understand it, you don't need to know everything about probates. You just need to find people in probate that need to sell their properties. Use your team to answer the questions. So many times when I started out doing probates, I didn't know the answer. And I go, that's a great question. Let me check back with my team and I'll call you back in 2 hours and I'll give you an exact answer. Do not lie to people. Do not try to BS. It's going to make you look bad. Go get the answer, and you'll learn this as part of the wholesaling process. And you're better off just telling them, I don't know the exact answer, but I have somebody on my team. I'll get you an answer shortly. What's the best time to contact you back? It's a great segue, and it allows you to save face because You do not want to lie to these people because they are depending on you to help solve a problem. If you built the right amount of rapport and you have a great conversation, they'll usually let you do this. But lying about something you know nothing about is a terrible, terrible way to bridge that awkward silence. And for that reason, use your team to get you answers. Remember, you're not a lawyer. I don't want you to be a lawyer. You're a wholesaler. Wholesalers go out and find deals and opportunities, and then they connect with the right people to help them put it all together. I've been doing this 21 years. I'm telling you guys, I still need help to this day doing wholesale deals because there's always different problems that pop up. And I am a deal finder and I am a deal solver, and I hire people and work with a team that get paid well to help me get these deals through. So remember earlier in the video, I told you there is a little caveat, a little bit of a hook I put into my probate letters, and I want you guys to check them out. You can go over to freewholesaling.com. Everything is available there for you. And my hook is, you ready for this? After years and years of objections on probates, the number one objection I got was, well, Mr. Rick, my lawyer told me I could not sell the probate until the probate process was complete. That is a lie. I have verified it. I have sat down with judges. I have sat down with attorneys. And for the most part, that is not true. In fact, you can sell your property before the probate's complete. Would you like to meet with me and I'll show you how? That's it. I don't tell them over the phone. I set up an appointment. I use it as a hook. Guys, this is one of the reasons why I'm one of the best people in the United States to do wholesale probates, because I understand what sellers want. The last thing they want to do is wait till the entire probate's complete. Sometimes this can take years. There is a loophole where if the seller and the buyer agree to execute a contract, all they have to do is have their lawyer enter into a motion, and it depends on what state you're in. I'm not a lawyer, but the motion simply to basically sell the asset. Why? Because the courts put in this exception because a lot of times what's the biggest cost to people? It's the house, it's the mortgage, it's the utilities, it's the insurance, the property taxes. And if you had to wait 2 years sometimes to sell it, it would eat the equity alive out of the estate. Basically what I do is reach out to my title company. What motion does the lawyer have to file so we can move forward this contract? They tell me exactly what to do. The lawyer's never happy with us, and it is what it is. But that is one of the big secrets on why I'm so successful in probates. And you can use it as a hook. You can use it verbally when you're on the phone. You can use it in your letter. You can use it when you go in your meetings. Now, when we talk about probate lawyer, like Rick, you haven't really talked about talking to the lawyer. I'm here to tell you, been doing probates a long time. You do not want to reach out to the probate lawyer that represents the estate. It is a huge mistake. Honestly, you have no dog in that fight. You don't want to reach out to them. And if anything, if you allow the lawyer to get between you and the seller, you're going to have to go through the lawyer for everything. And they're going to put you through such a dog and pony show. They typically want appraisals. They want BPOs. They want a judge to review everything. And it's not required by most states. The reality is you want to go directly to the seller and enter a contract sooner than later. And the reality is, if you try to go through the probate lawyer that's representing the estate, he's typically going to block you. Why? Because they can't drag the probate out as long as they want and have unlimited billing hours. Number two, they want to usually bring in a real estate agent. They want to do appraisals and they want to block you. So the easiest way is just skip the lawyer. I'm telling you, if you call the lawyer, they're never going to answer your phone anyways. Now, the one thing you got to understand is sometimes on the probates, they'll say, hey, Mr. Rick, I want to run this by my lawyer. And all I want to do is anchor them on their price. Okay, are you good at 100 grand? Are you good? Okay, you're good closing within 30 days of when the court accepts it? Yes. So we're good on that. So you just want them to review the paperwork. That's fine. Then what we can do is send a blank contract over to the lawyer and have them review it. And if we have to plug in numbers, we can do it from there. But if the lawyer goes, I don't like that price, the seller goes, well, I already have an agreement with them on the price. That's not even negotiable. You see, guys, if you can go straight to the seller, like a straight direct line, and you guys talk, the lawyer usually sits on the sideline. He usually takes weeks to talk to. If your seller is truly motivated to sell that property, they'll usually enter into an agreement with you. You can't force them to skip their lawyer, but you want to strongly push forward to get a deal put together. If they truly want to sell and move the house, take them up on that offer, write a contract, and then their lawyer can review it. If they want to babysit the closing, they can do whatever they want. But the minute you try to go through that lawyer for permission, I promise you a real estate agent's going to pop out. Appraisers are going to pop out. Why? Because that's how the lawyer gets paid. And they feel like they're not doing that part if they don't try to kick you to the side. So have I been very clear on this? When you do probate deals and you find them and you reach out to them, try to put a deal together and get it done, because most lawyers get really upset when we move with speed. There's a reason for it, because they lose control. Remember, their job is to push the paperwork through, not to affirm the price of the property. That is out of their wheelhouse. And I don't know why lawyers try to stay in that wheelhouse. So the best way to avoid it is work directly with your seller. It's amazing. Once you work directly with your seller, then the lawyer wants to talk to you all the time. I'm always respectful, but once I have an agreement with the seller, I follow the contract and I move forward. So the last piece of advice here is, when you do probates, it's not a one-hit wonder. You have to consistently do it. Now, here's the really cool part. It's really cheap to do, since you're doing the letters yourself or the phone calls yourself. And there's only between 50 and 75 leads a month, which is extremely manageable, even if you have a full-time job. Here's the key: is be extremely consistent, because I saved the best part for last. Probates typically have triple the profit of a regular assignment of contract of your typical wholesale deal. So they're well worth putting the time. They are not going to be the one-hit instant wonder that you normally get on other wholesaling leads. These take time. If you can do it for a solid 12 months and I get you 1 or 2 deals out of it and you make like $30K each deal, you'll be extremely happy. And for this is the reason I want you to do probate deals. Even as a beginner, it doesn't matter. You just have to talk to people that are in probate, that have property that they need to sell. So guys, let me know in the comments, are you using probates, even if you're a beginner, to find your first wholesale deal? I would love to hear from you on that. And if you got value from this video, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, you hit that subscribe notification to continue to receive videos on wholesaling. Guys, this is Rick Ginn on day 12 of our 30-day wholesaling challenge, and I'll see you in the next video.